Okay. So, what is one of your favorite summertime memories from childhood? When we talk about a life portfolio and you're flipping back, some of us, you have to flick back pretty far. I'm looking at you, Rich. I'm looking at you, Fred. Okay. I'm looking at you, Walt.
Oh.
You got to go back a little bit, right? Helen.
We're not far behind
Helen's
you.
volunteering.
We're not far.
A lot of us have to go pretty far back. But I think of playing home run derby. We had a tennis court in our front yard. Basically, we were right next to a city park.
Must be nice.
And we'd play home run derby. It was great because it was all fenced in with this big tall fence. And so me and my friends and my brothers, we'd play home run derby. Those didn't cost any money, but we spent hours and hours doing that.
One of my biggest tools from my childhood summers was our red wagon. And I used that thing. I mean, it would just turn into like a new support system for me every single day, whether it was filled with stuffed animals or making bird nests or, whatever I was up to that day. That was kind of like what I used to get around the yard.
I like that. Well, I want to go Fred, who I already have picked on. Fred.
You're a good sport, Fred.
Yes, thanks for being a good sport. Let's make sure you're unmuted. There we go. What do you have a good memory from childhood?
Oh, yes. When I was in the 8 to 10 range, my dad wanted to move out of the city of Waukegan, which is on Lake Michigan, out into the country. So on the west side of Waukegan was a drive-in theater. Our house was right across the gravel road, and my bedroom window looked out on the screen. So in the evenings,
That's awesome.
there would be 2 shows, and when people left the first show, they would take the speakers out of their window and just hang them up, and so I could watch the second show with sound. Okay, now that was incredible. But here's my crazy buddy and I. We would go over at least once a week with our little wagon, and we would pick up all the popsicle sticks that people dropped on the ground, and we would gather hundreds of popsicle sticks. We would bring them back home and make stuff out of them. Okay, so it was a diet. We only lived there a couple of years before we moved back into the city. But anyway, those 2 summers or 3 summers were just amazing with the drive-in theater.
That is so cool.
Does anyone else wish they were Fred when he was 8 or 10 years old? I kind of just want to pretend like I was you for a little bit. That's what? Do you remember a movie that you're like, oh, I saw that in that summer?
I honestly don't remember the movies.
Yeah. Oh.
It was just the idea of being able to stay up until nearly midnight. And my parents didn't have any idea. I don't know, because my room had a door, and again the window just looked out onto the entire drive-in theater, and there was the movie screen out in front of me.
That's tremendous.
I know.
Yeah. Just the fact that there was drive-in movies, because those are becoming extinct. But
this was back around 1950, so a few years.
Well, and then my next question was were you watching R-rated movies? But was there really R-rated movies?
I don't know. Why?
No,
it's an interesting thing,
right? I mean, a lot of times now the second feature is a little bit more.
It's more
for
of the
adults.
grown-up version. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, this was the same movie twice, so I could watch it the first time and try to read lips, but it was easier just to do something else and then stay up and watch it the second time when I could hear the sound.
That's crazy.
That is the best memory ever. Thank you for sharing, Fred.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Fred.
That's gonna be hard to top, you guys.
All right, let's go to Amy here, and
Hi,
she
Amy.
gets to try. Amy, what summer memory do you have to share with us?
So the summer between my 8th and 9th grade, I was home for one day, and it was the best summer. I was at my dad's house out east for 6 weeks. I learned how to sail a sailboat in the Charleston River. Then I went to Spanish camp for 2 weeks, Solamente Español for 2 weeks. And then they picked me up at Spanish camp, and we drove to Colorado camp, which is my family camp, which we have done forever. And I just wanted to tell you, you don't have to be a kid to have fun at summer camp, because my 80-year-old mom and my 2 80-year-old aunts still tent camp in the mountains of Colorado.
Wow.
That is amazing.
every summer. So
Wow.
I don't know which is my favorite part. It was just that I left in 8th grade. I came back. I was in 9th grade. It was so much fun. It was so busy. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
That's magical.
Yeah,
Right?
that's great.
Oh,
Thank you, Amy. That's
so good. I know your Colorado camp is such an important thing to your family, but to hear that special summer is really cool.
I found out this last year that where we camp, my grandfather, when he was 14 years old, they would just let him go on a horseback out into the mountains with his friends and camp for a week, and then they'd come back. Like, just at 14, they'd just go camp.
That's how it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We could actually go outside for like the whole day and we'd be gone until supper time. I know, but I'm just saying that's how crazy it is now. Is you can't even let your kids go outside for a few hours, let alone go horseback riding.
We didn't see our parents the entire summer day. We were out all day. Yeah. Street lights coming on. If you weren't home before the street lights came on, you had to be home.
Yeah. I feel bad for whatever version of Escape Adulthood Live, whatever version of shows are 25 years ago when we have kids talking about their summers, what will they talk about? It'll be like, we spent our whole summer on a travel team going from one thing to the next. Like that,
we spent our whole summer on a tablet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true, you guys.
It is hard. My daughter doesn't let her kids take their phones outside when they go outside to play because she has seen them sitting out on the basketball court on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
addictive. It's built that way.
It's been engineered to do that. So it's hard to blame the kids, but it's a good again, intentionality, right?
The great thing about camping in the mountains of Colorado is there's no cell phone and or Wi-Fi. You have to not have your screen on. It's amazing.
That's cool.
The best way.
And I imagine how long it would take me to like do that phantom check for my phone before I would forget,
Right.
So thank you, Amy. Let's
thank you, Amy.
Let's see what Rich, you're up, Rich. What memory you got to share with us?
Well, I'm in the same age genre as everybody else here. Is every day in summer was spent outside, and either till the street lights came on or till I heard my mom ring the dinner bell. So
legit.
Had a triangle on the back porch, and she would ring the triangle when it was time to come in for dinner.
That's awesome.
And it could be, racing popsicle sticks down the gutter after a rain. Or simple creative things in the evenings, trying to catch fireflies. Our family vacations were to a relative's cattle ranch in southern Colorado, and so it was horseback riding and going out for picnics, and we found arrowheads. I have a whole collection of Indian arrowheads that came off of arrows. Getting up early in the morning to watch them milk the cows and separate the milk, in cream and sugar. Just the heavy milk and pasteurized, and it was just a simple, creative, outdoor, playing with friends, kind of stuff that I am sad that kids these days just don't have that kind of environment where that's feasible and possible. But yeah, Mom would turn us out and say, just be back by dinner, and we'd be gone all day.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting, and I think it's kind of cool. Like that's part of why we wanted to have this show is the concept of. We can bring some of that back.
Yeah. Well, the word that comes to mind with yours, Rich, is freedom. Like you had the freedom. You had more freedom in those summers than any kid today even could ever dream of. It's like, right?
But we do resurrect some of those. Like Martha and I will sit out on our deck at night after dark and just watch the fireflies and be mesmerized by how magical they are. And I can't remember if we've mentioned this, but we learned that if you flash a bright light, it'll make the fireflies flash in unison.
Really?
And so we actually drive our car down into the middle of a field behind our house. And that way you're also not getting eaten by mosquitoes. And then you just watch the fireflies, and every once in a while you flick the brights, and then the fireflies just all go like that.
Really? Wow. Now I'm going to have to try that. There you go.
is crazy.
Add that to the bucket list. There's a free item on the bucket list for you guys if you want to try that.
You have to have fireflies, though. Not
Well,
everybody does.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Rich.
Very
Appreciate
cool.
that.
Thank you for sharing, Mr. Rich.
Stephen, who's not in New York City right now, I happen to know on good authority. But Stephen, what memory do you want to share? Let's make sure you're unmuted. There we go.
I unmuted myself.
Good.
So I had several memorable ones, but one of the most memorable ones, we went to Thailand when whatever the math is, it was 1990. And we went to 3 different places throughout the country. And actually, I was highly amused because we lived in the Philippines at the time. So we had frequent flyer miles. And so we went the way that they told us to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went north to Seoul, south to Taipei, and then southwest to Bangkok. It was like way out of the way.
Oh. You have to know geography to
Yeah,
get
I was
this
gonna
one.
say.
I'm like, okay, sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, Seoul is way north of Manila, and then Taipei, Taiwan is like halfway between, and then Bangkok is to the west. It would have been, I think Bangkok is slightly northwest, like west-northwest of Manila. Anyway, it was just a very roundabout way, and then we did the reverse going back. I thought it was funny.
So you're.
What?
I was gonna say your childhood stories always involves world travel, which always gets everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Steven, we're like, where were you when you were 9?
So what was your big memory of this that you want to share?
So, like, there were so many, but like we got to tour palaces in Bangkok, and we went to Hua Hin in the south, which has beaches, and they had jellyfish that washed up on the beach, and we had to be careful not to step on them because they can sting even if they're dead.
Good tip.
Wow.
And they had a hotel nearby where we were staying that we could walk to from the beach, and the way they sculpt fruit is like it could go in a museum if the fruit would keep, but it is stunning.
Wow.
Sometime look up Thai fruit. I don't know what the best search.
Yeah.
Thai food art, maybe. Anyway, and then we went to Chiang Mai in the north, which, like 1,000 years ago or something, I believe they said used to be the capital. And we went to a bunch of factories, and a local cab driver, well, it's kind of like a Jeep-ish thing, not exactly, but it functions as a cab. Anyway, he kind of adopted us and became our tour guide. And so he took us out several times, like just about every day. And he took us to places that aren't frequented by, or at least were then, by tourists. And we went to the old palace, the ruins, and it was really fascinating, and there was nobody there. And
That's
he
awesome.
said that his English was limited, but he said it was destroyed in an earthquake like 1,000 years ago. And we also, my mom had her birthday there, and we took her to the biggest restaurant in the world, which is no longer there. I looked it up more recently, but they used, it's like over water, so it was like on planks, not planks, but like sort of like dock stuff, but it's kind of all over the place. And the waiters use roller skates to get around because it's so huge.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And holding food and manipulating and not falling in the water, and it was amazing.
That's awesome, Stephen. What a
Oh, and
unique.
we rode elephants.
Then there,
throw
that
that
too.
in. I mean, your bucket list, right?
All right. Well, that's I'm loading up my bucket list. I've got ride elephants, see palaces in Bangkok, and
And the elephants painted. We got to see elephants make paintings.
Paintings.
There we
That
go.
is, wow. Thank you
Super
for
cool.
sharing.
Thank you,
Stephen.
yeah.
And elephant poop is green, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh.
I was
He's
not,
got a good
but
memory.
thank you for sharing that. Let's move on quick. One more. We'll get to Sharon. Sharon, thank you for being with us tonight. You look delightful as always. What's your summertime memory?
Okay, well, this isn't a memory, but I didn't go to Thailand, but I spent a lot of summertime in Reno, Nevada, because my parents love to go there and gamble. Anyway, but my favorite summer memories are fishing for minnows, pollywogs, crawdads, and snails in our irrigation canals. And I used to put them in our calf and cow troughs on the farm. And they would grow to be really big. And my dad would get really mad because the snails would crawl up in the little faucet and plug it up. And he'd get really upset. Why would you just put snails in the troughs again? So that's how I spent a lot of my summers.
That's awesome.
Little Sharon getting in trouble.
Yeah, just thinking about tadpoles even brings back memories. Yeah.
Aw.
Super cool. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everybody,
What an
for
adventure.
sharing. And there's so many good ones on the comments here. Just simple things like squirt gun fights. Kimberly says, I plan to join an all-women's a cappella group starting tomorrow. I've always wanted to be part of a singing group, and I now have the chance and the courage to do it. That's awesome. Brenda says, Kool-Aid popsicles every day at 3 o'clock. That is a very specific memory. I love that.
That's almost like a rule. It's like, it's 3 o'clock. Got to get a popsicle.
Yeah,
I love that.
like that rule.
That's
It's
a
good
rule that you made
That's
up.
a rule you could instigate again. And then Katie says riding horses everywhere in Colby, Wisconsin. And I got to get this one. Ghost in the Graveyard for Mary Beth.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Totally
Playing baseball. Good stuff.
Freaky.